Plastic surgery was not normal in the golden age of Hollywood, but whoever had it, unfortunately, had the worst effect possible. From Mary Pickford to Marilyn Monroe, all of them almost ruined their lives with plastic surgery. Here we are going to talk about 20 of the most shocking plastic surgery disasters of the golden age of Hollywood. Mary Pickford. Mary Pickford, hailed as America's sweetheart, revolutionized silent cinema with her delicate features and trademark curls. As sound film gained momentum, she feared losing her youthful appeal amid shifting industry trends. In the 1930s, she turned to an experimental facelift, a relatively new procedure at the time. Surgeons promised a discreet way to lift sagging skin and preserve her celebrated image. However, the technology and techniques were far from refined, often leading to tightness, scarring, or nerve damage. While rumors abounded, it quickly became apparent that Pickford's once expressive face had lost some of its natural charm. That subtle grace vanished. Friends and colleagues noticed her smile became noticeably restrained, lacking the ebullience audiences once adored. Although the facelift may have erased some fine lines, it also appeared to impact her facial muscles, preventing her from displaying the warmth that had endeared her to millions. As gossip columns speculated about her changing visage, Pickford grew increasingly reclusive. She avoided high-profile events and appearances, possibly due to the stigma surrounding cosmetic mishaps. The experience shattered her confidence, contributing to a sense of fading relevance in a rapidly evolving Hollywood. The medical community lacked the safety standards upheld today. Mistakes often proved irreversible. Ultimately, Mary Pickford's plastic surgery journey serves as a cautionary tale for the pitfalls of early cosmetic experimentation. In striving to maintain a timeless image, she inadvertently lost part of the familiar essence her fans cherished. The surgery's effects were not only physical, they also weighed heavily on her emotional well-being, as she became increasingly isolated. Pickford's legacy remains that of a pioneering actress who shaped the film industry, yet her struggle with aging underscores the profound pressure placed on Hollywood icons. Her story continues to resonate, reminding us that surgical enhancements can carry significant and long-lasting consequences and burdens. Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr, often celebrated as one of the most beautiful women in cinema, pursued plastic surgery in an attempt to preserve her legendary allure. Born Hedwig Kiesler in Austria, she garnered acclaim for her striking features and natural poise. Yet as she aged, she felt pressured by Hollywood's unforgiving standards. Determined to remain youthful, Lamarr reportedly underwent several facelifts throughout her career. Though she initially saw fleeting improvements, the procedures carried significant risks. Early facelift techniques lacked precision, frequently resulting in excessive skin tightening and obvious scarring. For someone who prided herself on perfection, these flaws became difficult to conceal. As Lamarr advanced in years, the relentless pursuit of beauty proved psychologically taxing. Rumors circulated that her multiple surgeries created an unnaturally taut complexion that betrayed her actual age, a stark contrast to the ethereal visage fans once idolized. Some insiders suggested that the repeated skin stretching contributed to nerve damage, limiting her facial expressions. This suspicion arose from Lamarr's increasingly rigid appearance in later roles and public sightings. The resulting discontent allegedly strained her personal relationships, leading her to withdraw from social circles. Her story illustrates how invasive attempts to halt aging can produce disheartening and counterproductive results overall. Despite her later struggles, Hedy Lamarr remained an influential figure, even beyond the silver screen, as an inventor and trailblazer. Yet these achievements were overshadowed by the public's fixation on her changing looks. In an era with limited understanding of restorative procedures, Lamarr was one of many early celebrities to seek radical solutions with little scientific grounding. The strain of these procedures reportedly drove her away from Hollywood's spotlight, heightening her sense of isolation. Lamarr's experience exposes the emotional toll of cosmetic disasters and remains a testament to the hidden dangers that lurk behind seemingly miraculous medical promises and illusions. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford commanded the screen with a fiery presence and glamorous persona that spanned several decades. Obsessed with maintaining her youthful allure, she embraced cosmetic surgery when it was still relatively uncharted territory. Reports suggest she underwent multiple facelifts, brow lifts, and other procedures to sculpt her features. While some early interventions were deemed successful, over time the cumulative effects became increasingly apparent. Scarring, irregular skin texture, and overpulled facial muscles contributed to a harsher appearance, contrasting with the softer beauty she once projected. Gossip columns pounced on every subtle change, intensifying public scrutiny of her evolving visage and mystique. As Crawford matured, she discovered that the pursuit of eternal youth exacted a heavy emotional toll. The constant threat of professional obscurity spurred her to seek increasingly drastic measures. Each procedure promised a rejuvenated appearance, but often delivered swelling, bruising, and protracted recovery times. In interviews, she rarely addressed these surgeries directly, preferring instead to credit her youthful look to healthy living and discipline. However, insiders reported that Crawford fretted over every wrinkle and sagging patch of skin, sometimes retreating from public view when healing proved slow. This secretive approach heightened the mystique surrounding her alleged cosmetic transformations and anxieties. Over time, Joan Crawford's determination to mask aging underscores Hollywood's unyielding insistence on youth. The star's transformation reveals the precarious balance between ambition and vulnerability. Her struggles with ever more invasive surgeries foreshadowed modern discussions on body dysmorphia and unrealistic societal ideals. While admired for her tenacity and resilience, Crawford also suffered from the burdens of perpetually chasing an elusive perfection. Her legacy is thus twofold. She epitomized glamour, but at a considerable personal cost. Her plastic surgery journey remains emblematic of the hidden consequences that many stars faced, serving as a reminder that beauty cannot always be surgically preserved or guaranteed. Gloria Swanson. Gloria Swanson, a titan of the silent film era, captivated audiences with her expressive eyes and impeccable style. Determined to maintain that aura of sophistication, she allegedly turned to cosmetic experimentation early in her career. Primitive techniques involved injecting paraffin wax and other substances beneath the skin to fill wrinkles or sculpt features. Initially hailed as cutting-edge, these procedures came with insufficient research, often resulting in lumps, hardened areas, or infections. In Swanson's case, rumors spread that the wax injections gradually solidified, creating a swollen, uneven appearance that altered the delicate balance of her once enchanting visage. Such changes drew unwanted attention from fans and critics. The harsh reality of managing botched procedures was compounded by a medical community ill-prepared to address complications. Paraffin injections were non-reversible and could migrate unpredictably, leaving unsuspecting patients with disfiguring results. Swanson, who prided herself on her regal poise, reportedly wrestled with a fluctuating face that made close-ups challenging. In an era when lighting and camera work were crucial for maintaining illusions, even minor changes stood out starkly on screen. The pressure to keep her issues hidden likely contributed to secrecy around such treatments, deepening her isolation. Despite these rumored struggles, Swanson continued to shine on and off the screen, championing health and wellness in her later years. However, her candid admissions revealed regrets about her earlier cosmetic experimentation, underlining the lack of credible information or safe alternatives available at the time. She cautioned against thoughtless attempts to preserve youth, stressing that quick fixes often led to long-term repercussions. Swanson's journey exposes the stark vulnerability even the most iconic stars faced, reminding us that beauty standards can drive individuals toward measures that irreversibly compromise the very qualities they hoped to protect. Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster was known for his athletic build, commanding voice, and rugged good looks that made him a leading man in countless films. As he aged, however, he found Hollywood's expectations of perpetual youth difficult to meet. In an attempt to recapture the vigor that defined his earlier roles, Lancaster allegedly underwent a facelift later in his career. Unfortunately, the procedure left visible scarring and altered the natural contours of his face. Fans who had idolized his unpolished charm noticed something amiss, and rumors spread that this once brash star had fallen victim to the same pressures as his female contemporaries. While Lancaster attempted to keep his private life discreet, industry insiders claimed that he felt self-conscious about the outcome. The invasive surgery reportedly tightened his skin to a degree that looked unnatural under harsh lighting. Close-ups revealed the uneven texture and scar lines, making it difficult for makeup artists to restore the sense of rugged authenticity that audiences cherished. The mental toll this took on Lancaster became evident as he grew more selective in his roles, possibly fearing further scrutiny. Critics who once praised his masculine aura now commented on his altered appearance, underscoring how unforgiving the spotlight can be. Nevertheless, Burt Lancaster remained a respected actor who delivered notable performances despite these setbacks. As time passed, he spoke sparingly about personal regrets, but those close to him inferred that the surgery's legacy weighed on his mind. It served as a reminder that even icons of masculinity can be ensnared by Hollywood's ageist standards. Lancaster's experience highlights the universal vulnerability stars face when chasing unattainable ideals of perpetual youth. In the end, his story resonates as a cautionary lesson in how cosmetic interventions can distort not only the human face, but also the self-image of the performer behind it. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe is widely regarded as a timeless beauty icon. Yet, behind the legendary glamour lay rumors that she pursued plastic surgery to refine her appearance. Historical documents, including physician notes and X-rays, have suggested that Monroe underwent at least one minor rhinoplasty to address a slight bump on her nose's cartilage. Additionally, some evidence points to possible cartilage grafts for subtle chin augmentation, although official records remain sparse. Many speculate these procedures were discreetly performed under the auspices of studio contracts, where secrecy about cosmetic enhancements protected a star's image. Despite speculation, Monroe herself never publicly acknowledged having surgery, and the studios remained silent on the matter. However, photographs taken early in her career and later show a subtle difference in her nose shape and chin contour. Experts argue that these changes, while modest, likely contributed to the luminous visage that captivated audiences around the world. Crucially, Marilyn Monroe's enduring appeal was not solely based on aesthetics. Her charisma, comedic timing, and genuine vulnerability resonated deeply with fans. Still, questions regarding her alleged procedures fuel continuing fascination with her life story. Over the years, the topic has remained a subject of debate among film historians and plastic surgeons alike, blending legend with fact. Ultimately, While minor surgical enhancements may have accentuated Monroe's natural charm, her legacy endures because of her radiant talent, iconic presence, and the mystique that continues to surround her personal transformations. The fascination endures, reflecting both curiosity and admiration for Monroe's evolution. Mae West. Mae West, famed for her witty quips and sultry persona, carved a niche for herself in an era that often stifled female sexuality. Determined to remain an emblem of allure well into her later years, she turned to plastic surgery. Reports suggest she underwent multiple facelifts, eye lifts, and other procedures to maintain her signature bombshell look. Yet these surgeries gradually tightened her facial features to the point where her expressions appeared frozen and unnatural. Admirers who fondly remembered her flamboyant charm found the transformation jarring, questioning whether the pursuit of ageless beauty had compromised the vivacious spirit that made her a legend. Beyond the physical consequences, West's many interventions signaled an underlying anxiety about losing her status as a sex symbol. Early techniques often lacked finesse, leaving noticeable scars and a permanently taut complexion. Makeup could only conceal so much, and her exaggerated facial contours sometimes overshadowed her performances. As audiences and critics commented on her evolving appearance, West stood resolute, deflecting criticism with the same brash confidence that had propelled her fame. However, Hollywood insiders speculated that the star's refusal to admit vulnerability heightened her isolation, especially when medical mishaps required extended recovery periods. Despite these challenges, Mae West maintained a defiant streak, continuing to perform and even satirize her image. She framed her decisions as acts of empowerment, determined to combat an industry that equated aging with obsolescence. Yet her heavily reworked visage became a cautionary emblem of how repeated procedures can erase the nuances of natural beauty. While she remained an icon for her resilience and unapologetic embrace of sexuality, her surgical experiences also underscored the potential pitfalls of refusing to yield gracefully to time. Mae West's story encapsulates the high stakes of clinging to youth at all costs. Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich enthralled audiences with her enigmatic allure, exemplified by her sultry gaze and fluid sense of style. Even as she aged, Dietrich strove to maintain the signature mystique that had propelled her to fame. According to various reports, her quest included multiple facelifts and cosmetic touch-ups. Unconfirmed rumors claimed she used surgical tape to pull back sagging skin during performances, a testament to her relentless fight against the ravages of time. While some credited her with an ageless, almost ethereal beauty, others observed that repeated procedures eventually culminated in a face that seemed overstretched and less expressive. This apparent transformation carried emotional repercussions. Dietrich, once a global icon of sophistication, gradually receded from public view, fueling speculation about her health and self-image. Friends noted that she became intensely private, especially regarding her appearance, shutting out those who might inquire about her medical interventions. Close-up photographs revealed signs of surgical manipulation, including scars near her hairline. The results may have extended her youthful look temporarily, but they also made her features appear unnaturally taut under certain lighting. The psychological cost of these measures was evident in her increasingly reclusive lifestyle, marked by lengthy periods of solitude in her Paris apartment. Nevertheless, Dietrich's legacy endures as that of a pioneering actress who boldly shaped her own image. Her relentless desire to control how the world perceived her points to the deep insecurities instilled by an industry fixated on youth. Dietrich's experience embodies the complex interplay between glamour and vulnerability, demonstrating that even the most illustrious stars cannot escape the human desire for acceptance. Her journey underscores the thin line between leveraging modern advancements to preserve one's persona and succumbing to the dangerous illusion that perpetual beauty can be painlessly engineered. Dean Martin. Dean Martin, often hailed as the laid-back crooner of the Rat Pack, effortlessly charmed audiences with his smooth voice and easygoing persona. Behind the scenes, however, Martin reportedly felt pressured by the shifting standards of youth-obsessed Hollywood. Determined to preserve his relaxed appeal, he is said to have undergone eyelid surgery, a relatively subtle procedure intended to combat drooping lids or bags under the eyes. While the goal was to maintain a refreshed look, gossip soon surfaced that Martin's operation had produced an unnaturally wide-eyed appearance. Observers noted that, post-surgery, something about Dean's trademark nonchalance seemed off. His famously sleepy gaze became alert in a way that did not match his original persona. In certain photographs and TV appearances, fans detected a rigid quality around his eyes, as though he was perpetually surprised. Insiders whispered that Martin disliked the results and felt self-conscious, leading him to wear sunglasses more frequently. The mismatch between his new eye shape and his laid-back aura underscored the delicate balance celebrities must strike when tweaking their appearances. Despite any dissatisfaction, Martin continued to enjoy popularity. Still, the rumored cosmetic slip-up shed light on the pervasive anxiety that even Hollywood's most seemingly self-assured stars could experience. Martin seldom discussed such matters openly, preferring to maintain the carefree image that made him a household name. Yet the episode illustrates how even minor surgical miscalculations can dramatically alter a celebrity's signature look and impact their overall brand. Dean Martin's supposed eyelid surgery stands as a reminder that no star, no matter how confident or beloved, is immune to the vulnerabilities associated with aging. The pursuit of everlasting youth can easily undermine the authentic charm that drew fans in the first place. Bette Davis. Bette Davis, recognized for her piercing eyes and formidable screen presence, faced immense pressure to preserve her iconic look. With a career spanning decades, Davis navigated Hollywood's obsession with youth by exploring cosmetic interventions reportedly later in life. While she guarded her privacy, insiders speculated she underwent minor facelifts and skin-tightening procedures, hoping to sustain her magnetic gaze for which she was famed. However, early surgical techniques carried pronounced risks, from noticeable scarring to nerve impairments. In Davis's case, rumors claimed she occasionally displayed a hint of asymmetry around her eyes, suggesting that the procedures did not entirely spare her features. Though the star rarely confirmed such operations, public fascination with her appearance persisted. Davis was known for her tenacious control over her image, making even the smallest changes a subject of gossip and critique. Critics pointed out that excessive smoothing might have robbed her expressions of some nuance, essential for portraying the complex characters she so favored. Meanwhile, fans worried that the actress, celebrated for her refusal to be molded by studio heads, had yielded to the relentless demands for eternal youth. In interviews, Davis often spoke about aging gracefully, asserting that substance in performance outweighed outward vanity. Yet her rumored flirtation with surgery underscored the unrelenting tension female stars faced, as their careers often hinged on appearances. If she did resort to surgical interventions, they may have temporarily forestalled the lines of experience that Hollywood found less marketable. Whether or not these claims were fully accurate, Bette Davis's legend remains that of a trailblazer who challenged the status quo. Her story highlights the complexities of striving to preserve a signature look under the harsh spotlight of celebrity, reminding us that even the fiercest talents can be ensnared by prevailing beauty ideals. Barbara Stanwyck. Barbara Stanwyck gained fame for her versatility, seamlessly shifting from hard-boiled noir roles to softer romantic leads. As she matured, whispers circulated that Stanwyck may have turned to cosmetic surgery to keep her angular features appealing to casting directors. Facelifts and brow lifts were common rumors, given her consistently smooth complexion even as she entered her 40s and 50s. Hollywood insiders commented on her discipline. If Stanwyck truly underwent procedures, she likely chose conservative surgeons who aimed to enhance rather than overhaul her appearance. Nevertheless, talk of subtle tightening and the occasional scar persisted. Despite these rumors, Stanwyck never openly confessed to any surgical interventions. She was known for her fierce independence, frequently dismissing the studio system's rigid expectations. Still, the pressure to maintain a bankable face in an industry that prized perpetual freshness likely weighed on her. Observers remarked that her stoic demeanor sometimes slipped when confronted with direct questions about aging, suggesting a personal struggle with maintaining her public facade. The careful boundary she drew around her private life only fueled more speculation. Stanwyck's approach, if indeed aided by procedures, was comparatively successful in sparing her from the most glaring mishaps of early plastic surgery. However, even subtle changes could not entirely remove the stigma of perceived vanity. After all, her initial appeal lay in her raw talent and fierce screen persona, not in artificially preserved youth. Barbara Stanwyck's story is one of restraint, perhaps illustrating that moderate surgical enhancements can extend a career without robbing an actress of her defining qualities. Yet the mystery that surrounds her choices also underscores the lengths to which female stars sometimes felt compelled to go in order to maintain their status in an unforgiving, beauty-driven arena. Lana Turner. Dubbed the Sweater Girl, Lana Turner quickly became a symbol of youthful sensuality in the 1940s. Over time, the star found that the same qualities that shot her to fame also made aging a brutal ordeal under Hollywood's spotlight. Rumors swirled that Turner underwent multiple procedures, ranging from facelifts to chemical peels, to maintain her famously luminous skin and defined cheekbones. While some fans argued that her transformations were subtle, others claimed her face sometimes appeared unnaturally taut, particularly around the jawline and forehead. Turner's ever-present desire to sustain her glamorous image placed her in a precarious cycle of repeated touch-ups. Beyond the physical toll, the emotional strain of preserving a youthful glow was immense. Turner's personal life, laden with scandals and heartbreaks, compounded the anxiety around her public persona. Allegedly, each relationship setback drove her further into self-consciousness about her appearance. Industry insiders suggested she feared that visible signs of aging would hamper her ability to land prominent roles or maintain her star allure. This persistent dread mirrored the experiences of many actresses who felt that their value hinged on looking perpetually youthful, despite natural changes. In her later years, Lana Turner remained a beloved figure, though her once effortless sex appeal was undercut by whispered allegations of surgical overreach. While never officially confirming any procedures, her evolving look reflected a woman grappling with Hollywood's rigid beauty ideals. She continued to appear on screen and in public events, maintaining a polished facade. Yet her story serves as a lesson in the perilous dance between stardom and self-image. Turner ultimately exemplified how the quest to preserve a brand can lead individuals down a path of invasive interventions that offer fleeting solutions, yet threaten to overshadow the genuine talent beneath. Kim Novak. Kim Novak, celebrated for her starring roles opposite leading men like James Stewart, initially captivated audiences with her delicate features and innate elegance. As time passed, however, Novak faced scrutiny from critics and fans alike regarding her changing appearance. She later confirmed having undergone fat injections in her face, a procedure intended to smooth wrinkles and restore youthful contours. Unfortunately, these injections drew harsh reactions when she appeared at public events. Onlookers remarked that her face looked puffy or uneven, suggesting that the procedure may have been overdone or improperly administered. While Novak defended her choices, explaining the desire to combat the visible signs of aging in a demanding industry, the backlash took its toll. Critics, particularly in the tabloids and on social media, hurled vicious comments about her altered appearance. Novak openly admitted that such remarks deeply hurt her, exposing the emotional damage that comes from harsh public judgment. Her candid responses underscored the cruelty older actresses often face when they opt for procedures that deviate from fans' nostalgic memories. The actor's ordeal demonstrates the tremendous pressure placed on women in Hollywood to look ageless. Despite the criticism, Kim Novak chose to discuss her experiences, thereby illuminating the complexities of cosmetic surgery in show business. She advocated compassion toward those who resort to these measures, reminding the public that mental and emotional well-being can be jeopardized by incessant negative feedback. Novak's story stands as both a cautionary tale and a plea for empathy. Her decision to modify her appearance was hers alone, yet the fallout reveals the high stakes for famous faces attempting to navigate the intersection of art, identity, and industry-imposed beauty mandates. Ultimately, Novak's journey highlights the costly risks of attempting to reclaim a youth that Hollywood often deems essential. Gable. Clark Gable, dubbed the King of Hollywood, was renowned for his confident swagger, charismatic grin, and undeniable on-screen magnetism. Yet the relentless demands of stardom took their toll as he matured. Though less frequently cited than his female peers for plastic surgery, rumors persist that Gable sought cosmetic enhancements to preserve his leading man status. Some claim he underwent a minor facelift to tighten lax skin around his jaw and cheeks, an area crucial to maintaining his famously masculine profile. While evidence is scarce, observers noted subtle shifts in his appearance that fueled speculation. If Gable did indeed opt for surgical help, his choice might reflect the rising pressure on male actors to match the youthful aesthetics of newer competitors. The rigors of filming and the harsh glare of studio lights could exaggerate even the slightest signs of aging. At a time when plastic surgery was surrounded by secrecy, especially for male stars, Gable's rumored procedure underscored an unspoken reality. Men, too, felt the weight of Hollywood's youth fixation. In an era where ruggedness was part of his brand, acknowledging vulnerability would have risked eroding his iconic image. Nonetheless, whether or not the talk of surgery was legitimate, Clark Gable maintained his place as one of cinema's enduring figures. His legacy rests on performances that combined bravado with genuine charm. The possibility that he resorted to cosmetic help only highlights the universality of aging concerns in show business. Even the king was not immune to industry pressures. Gable's story thus parallels those of his female counterparts, emphasizing that the quest for aesthetic perfection knows no gender bounds. For icons like Gable, rumored surgical decisions reveal the deeply rooted fears lurking behind the regal facade of star power, reinforcing how fragile even the mightiest reputations can be. Tierney. Tierney was lauded for her ethereal beauty and luminous screen presence, most notably in films such as Laura. Yet as the years wore on, Tierney felt the stifling expectations of maintaining an impeccable face. Whisperings emerged that she pursued subtle cosmetic enhancements to retain her refined, almost delicate features. Among these rumored procedures were minor eye lifts or facelifts, intended to stave off the creeping lines that threatened her porcelain perfection. In an era where advanced methods were scarce, any surgical intervention carried enormous risk, including visible scarring or compromised facial mobility. Tierney's struggle was further complicated by her battles with mental health, which were well documented. Navigating both psychological challenges and the pressures of stardom left little room for error. Should rumors of her procedures ring true, then they represented yet another avenue where Tierney endeavored to control an uncontrollable life. Her notoriously private nature meant she seldom addressed these topics directly. Studio publicists often glossed over personal controversies, focusing on the star's striking on-screen image rather than any real-life vulnerabilities. Over time, fans debated the extent of Tierney's rumored changes. While some insisted she had simply aged gracefully, others pointed to the unrelenting gloom she sometimes displayed in later interviews, hinting at deeper dissatisfaction. Regardless of how much credence one gives to these reports, Tierney's story underscores the intense strain placed on mid-century actresses. Her legacy endures as that of an enchanting figure whose beauty both propelled her career and became an unspoken burden. In the final analysis, the whispers surrounding her possible cosmetic procedures illustrate the hidden battles behind a glamorous facade, reminding us that stardom can impose exacting standards that few can meet without risking their physical and emotional well-being. Carole Lombard. Carole Lombard was revered for her sparkling comedic timing and radiant charm, starring in a string of screwball comedies that cemented her place in film history. Although Lombard tragically passed away at a young age, rumors have circulated that she may have explored early plastic surgery methods to refine her appearance before hitting her career stride. Possible nose reshaping and subtle facial adjustments were whispered about, particularly in studio chatter, as agents and producers often suggested enhancements to help new talents stand out. If Lombard did submit to these primitive procedures, she joined the ranks of stars seeking any advantage in a fiercely competitive landscape. Surgery at the time often involved rudimentary techniques, leaving candidates vulnerable to infection or unwelcome side effects. Despite these potential hazards, the pressure to conform to an ideal was powerful. The rumor mill churned with tales that Lombard's near-perfect profile owed more to a doctor's scalpel than mere genetics. While she possessed innate comedic brilliance, her meticulously polished look also contributed significantly to her marketability. Yet Lombard's genuine warmth and talent ultimately overshadowed any lingering questions about her physical alterations. Audiences adored her for her wit, vivacity, and philanthropic endeavors, especially during World War II. Reflecting on these rumors, one might argue that in Hollywood, minor enhancements were often seen as practical career moves, not purely acts of vanity. Lombard's luminous legacy endures because she harnessed more than aesthetic appeal. Her spirit and generosity remain legendary. Nevertheless, the speculation surrounding her possible cosmetic interventions underscores a prevailing pattern in old Hollywood: that even the brightest stars were not entirely free from the exacting demands of an image-driven industry, where surgical tweaks could either propel a career forward or tarnish the authenticity of a performer's innate allure. Ginger Rogers. Ginger Rogers dazzled audiences with her dance prowess alongside Fred Astaire, capturing hearts with her grace, energy, and appealing visage. In time, though, whispers emerged that Rogers, like so many of her peers, may have sought surgical solutions to counteract the toll of advancing years. Some suggested she underwent skin-tightening procedures or chemical treatments aimed at preserving her glowing complexion. While these claims remain speculative, the notion that even a dancer as nimble and confident as Rogers felt pressured to intervene surgically reveals how pervasive youth-centric standards were in Hollywood. An intensely private individual, Rogers seldom spoke of personal matters, including any potential cosmetic enhancements. Friends and colleagues described her as disciplined, often crediting her vitality to relentless rehearsal schedules, healthy eating, and a positive mindset. Still, the rumor mill refused to subside, pointing to occasional stiffness around her forehead and more defined cheekbones later in her career. If indeed she chose medical intervention, the choice might have been prompted by a desire to remain competitive in an era that prized fresh-faced ingenues over seasoned veterans. Yet Rogers's legacy extends beyond questions of outward perfection. She was among the highest-paid actresses of her time and wielded considerable influence in creative decisions. Her skillful moves and comedic timing spanned far beyond the dance floor, making her an in-demand talent for decades. Whatever cosmetic measures she might have pursued, they did not overshadow her achievements in choreography, business acumen, or philanthropic pursuits. Instead, her narrative highlights the strain placed on performers to encapsulate eternal youth, even when their contributions to cinema history were already firmly established. In this sense, Ginger Rogers serves as another testament to the universal undercurrent of pressure that permeates the entertainment industry. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow, the blonde bombshell, captivated audiences with her platinum hair and playful sensuality during the early 1930s. While she died tragically young at 26, rumors persist that Harlow considered or even underwent rudimentary cosmetic procedures in her brief but meteoric career. Some studio whispers allege nose contouring or dental enhancements to perfect her photogenic face. Given the era's limited techniques, such alterations would have been fraught with potential complications. Yet the studios, eager to craft flawless stars, often encouraged or arranged for such interventions, prioritizing profit over potential health risks. Harlow's luminous persona belied any sign of lingering discomfort from rumored procedures, though the memory of these enhancements lingers in old Hollywood lore. She emerged as a bold new archetype, demonstrating that women could combine sensual allure with comedic flair. Not surprisingly, her rapid ascent fueled speculation about secret studio makeovers. In a few rare photos and film stills, observers claimed to detect minor shifts in her facial contours. Her trademark hair color itself demanded harsh bleaching treatments, known to damage both scalp and hair. The environment in which Harlow rose to fame was one where modifications, whether surgical or cosmetic, were part of shaping a marketable fantasy. Despite the grim reality behind some rumored interventions, Jean Harlow radiated a relaxed confidence that endeared her to millions. That her life ended so prematurely adds a layer of mystery to the stories of what she might have done to maintain or adjust her appearance. Her legacy endures, fueled by a collective fascination with her unbridled charisma. While the question of surgical enhancements remains unverified, it speaks to the culture of the time, where aesthetic refinements were often quietly woven into the fabric of a star's identity, hoping to further enrapture a public hungry for perfection. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn personified the dashing swashbuckler, famed for films like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood. With chiseled features and a roguish charm, Flynn enthralled audiences as the quintessential leading man. Yet behind the scenes, he battled health issues and personal demons, fueling speculation that he may have dabbled in cosmetic procedures to maintain his romantic hero persona. Some historians believe he underwent minor surgeries or skin treatments to preserve his appeal after years of hard living. which included heavy drinking and other excesses. If so, these interventions highlight the lengths to which male stars would go to uphold a polished image. At a time when admitting to any cosmetic enhancement could tarnish a male star's virile reputation, Flynn likely kept such matters secret. Industry chatter suggests he explored wrinkle-reducing injections and possibly a subtle facelift. Those who encountered him off-camera sometimes remarked that his skin appeared unnaturally taut in later years, a detail the studios meticulously concealed through strategic lighting and expert makeup. Still, even these measures could not halt rumors about his changing looks. While Flynn's reputed procedures remain a footnote to a larger-than-life story, they mirror the experiences of many Golden Age celebrities caught in the crosshairs of demanding fans and studio heads. The heroism he projected on screen masked vulnerabilities that grew with age and ill health. Ultimately, Errol Flynn's enduring popularity rests more on his charismatic performances and adventurous spirit than on any attempt to rewrite the physical realities of time. Yet whispers of cosmetic enhancements add another dimension to his legend, underscoring that, even for a swashbuckling icon, youth and beauty were currencies that could slip away all too quickly, compelling desperate gambles in the quest to keep the dream alive. These stories from Golden Age Hollywood unveil the hidden costs behind its everlasting sparkle. From experimental facelifts to damaging injections, countless icons battled age and vanity with limited medical safeguards. Their experiences warn future generations that the price of surgical perfection can be heartbreakingly high, even for the brightest stars.